California, and I think it was in a Navy base.
A Navy base?
Mm-hmm.
Was your dad in the Navy?
My original father was supposed to be in the Navy, but I didn't find that out till 10 years ago. And how old am I?
Really?
Yeah.
Why did you find out so late?
Because my mother didn't like to talk about it. She never talked about it.
Oh,
Never gave any information, never talked about it.
So you were born in San Pedro
Mm-hmm.
on a Navy base?
Yes.
Okay. Were you the youngest or the
Well,
oldest?
that's a funny story because I didn't find out that I wasn't the oldest one until 10 years ago.
Really? How did you find out all this 10 years ago, Grandma?
Well, because my mother wouldn't talk about it, and I need the.
Okay, so how did you find out all this stuff 10 years ago?
Well, actually, in one way, only because when I went to apply for a passport, that information is there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Your father, what he did, when you got married, all that stuff was, some of that was there. And so at that time, before it didn't matter, I thought, oh well, she just want to talk about it, that's fine. But then at that point I said, oh, and I had a picture, I had an old picture of this child, and it looked like me, not like the rest of the family, And I said to my mother, I have a picture, of this, I think he looked like he was just walking, maybe 3 or something like that, 2 or 3. And she goes, oh, and she says, oh, that must have been your brother, I think she said. And I said, I didn't know I had a brother, and he was older than you. And I said, oh, okay. And so, I don't know, it was just kind of a shocker, because this time I thought I was the oldest, which I wasn't. There was this other child that had died. And so, anyway, but it didn't add up. But anyway, that's what she said, and that's how I found out that I wasn't the oldest.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
That's crazy, Grandma.
Yeah.
So how many siblings do you have?
Well, original siblings would have been just me and that one, and so half siblings would have been. There was some. I think there was like 8 and 1 died as a baby, besides the one that I know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you didn't grow up with them?
With my siblings,
Yeah.
my half siblings. I did to a point. Yes, I lived in the household as they did. Yes, but we were completely different in 2 different ways, and so after I got married, I pulled away and stood away from them.
Oh, really? So your mom and your dad made you, and then she left him?
Well, yes, this is the way it was told to me or it happened. I stood with my grandmother, and they lived in Texas, El Paso, Texas, and I came down here. I stood with my grandmother, I think for a year, that's what I was told. They had left and come down to Bakersfield where she met the second person's husband. And then after that, they came back and got me and brought me to Bakersfield. But yeah, originally, actually, I don't know, from there, apparently one of my grandmothers had a childhood, but anyway, ended up in Chicago. And my mother went from Chicago to whatever that was.
Yeah, San Pedro or
San Pedro, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of moving.
Yeah, when you don't know any,
Yeah.
but you don't know what's going on when you're a kid.
Yeah, true. So where was your mom originally from, or where were her ancestors from, like in Mexico? Like where?
I don't know exactly from Mexico. All I know is of course, like most Hispanic people come over the border somehow. I don't know at what point or where or anything. All I know is that they were they lived in Texas.
Wow.
Yeah.
And because, we're very fair Mexicans.
Mm-hmm.
Was she like that? Did she have very fair skin?
She's she's darker than I am. I'm trying to compare it. She's like a medium, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
We're Hispanic, and she's short, of course.
Yeah.
And I think I got my height from my father, and I remember my grandmother, the one that I stood with, when they moved,
Mm-hmm.
which I think it was my father's mother, that she was tall. But of course, when you're a kid, everything looks big. But,
True.
But to me, she seemed tall and thin. So I don't know.
And so you never met your dad?
No, I never met him. No.
And you never, because you said that your mom wouldn't talk about it.
No.
You didn't ask. You didn't really
I asked through the years, but
Yeah.
it was like a taboo. You don't ask. You don't. She didn't want to talk about it. And the last time I did ask, the last time she actually shared things with me was actually fairly recent, which was like 5 years ago. Just think how old I am. And so she said, this is what she had said to me. And I said, I know, because I got that information, through the, about the passport and stuff. So I said, I seen, where he was in the Navy. And she goes, yeah. And then she's going like, that he, first she said she didn't want to talk about it. And then she said that she thought he married her just to get into the United States. And he had, that's the way she says it. But in other words, and then he ended up having some girlfriend that he wanted to marry. So that's the way she said that's when she ended up getting a divorce, moving back with her mother, and So.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's crazy that you only found that out so recently.
Yeah. She didn't want to talk about it at that point. She didn't even say it. She said, oh, I don't really, you could tell it was a lot of bitterness, like she says, can you believe they let him go into the Navy? He went into the Navy and this and that. And I said, she's just a lot of bitterness involved in that.
And so you moved down here into Bakersfield around what age, do you think?
I think I was like 4 or like something
young,
like that.
Yeah.
Like 4.
And you had all those siblings?
And then I moved I'm sorry, I'm going to back this up. I didn't move to Bakersfield. I moved to Wasco.
Oh.
That's where my stepfather's family was. Well, I was at Wasco until we moved from there to Bakersfield in my junior high year.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what did he do for a living?
He was a produce truck driver / truck driver, whatever.
Okay, and that's who your mom stayed married to till the end?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, and do you have any contact with the siblings that you had?
Unfortunately, I get dragged in because of my mother, otherwise I wouldn't.
Why wouldn't you?
Because anything that you see negative, there's a lot of negative things that they either have been involved in or have done, have been involved in, and their lifestyles, and
You just don't want to be associated?
I don't care to be associated with them. And the only reason I am occasionally is because of my mother, and I hadn't been for years and years until her husband passed away, because I wanted to stay away from the household.
And so were you the only one that wasn't related fully, you know?
Yes.
Because all, okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm,
So you were kind of like an outsider.
Yes, exactly. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
And treated so. So
Really?
it wasn't fun.
Wow, Grandma, that's crazy. I didn't know about that. I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
So after that, you went into high school in Bakersfield, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Did you play any sports?
No, I didn't. I didn't play any sports.
You weren't a cheerleader?
No, there wasn't anything like that encouraged, or, you know, there was never anything positive encouraged, you know. So, no. Briefly, I was in modern dance, and that's it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you have any friends in high school that you still have now?
That I still have now? I'm trying to think. Yes, actually. You know, we're not...
Yeah,
You know, we're
people
not-
move away.
Yeah, we're not, you know, when I see them, you know, we talk.
Okay, so we were talking about high school and the sports, or you didn't play any sports,
No.
and you were in like choir and dance.
Yes.
Did you have any boyfriends in high school?
In high school?
Yeah. Like, how were you? Like a tomboy or a girly girl? Were you like party or?
Not a party girl, no. I wasn't allowed to go to parties.
Really?
Yeah. So, and I wasn't a tomboy girl. And I had friends in school, but I didn't, you know, I wasn't allowed to go any place. I think at the very end they allowed me to start going a couple places, I think in into my junior year or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as boyfriends there was guys that I was like, you know, might have
You
liked,
liked, yeah.
but there was no no, you know, boyfriend,
Like
girlfriend.
real, like.
No boyfriend and girlfriend type of thing, you know. And then, you know, so not until I met Papa.
Really?
Then it's, yeah, so it was like, you know, well, I'm going to back it up. I did, there was one
Grandma.
incident. I know, no. There was, and this is the reason I'm telling this is really weird, because there was I had a friend and they had something, and it was, I think it could have been my junior year, in fact, right before I met Papa. I know it was that, but there was a person, and he lived in Shafter and had asked me to go to the prom and that type, and I knew his sister, in a long way about knew his sister. So I was allowed to go to that in my junior year, okay? Well, I kind of was with him a little bit, but he lived in Shafter, I lived over here, so you know, there was no connection. And so, but the weird thing that after I met Papa, the girl that he had gotten connected with, or did they get married? I don't remember if they got married, was Papa's girlfriend.
Oh, no way! So you
Yeah.
guys kind of switched.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, in fact, after we got married, we had a little thing, you know, and a couple of friends, and that couple came.
Oh my gosh.
There was no bad thing. But
Yeah.
It
It's just funny.
was just weird, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah. It was
So how did you meet Grandpa?
Well, it was kind of a weird thing because my friend, one of my best friends at that time, was going to go to a graduation of somebody's, you know, and it happened to be Papa's graduation party in high school. And so she invited me to go, and I went, and I met him there. But he said he's seen me at school. I never paid attention to that I seen him around or anything. I didn't remember seeing him. But he said that he had seen me at school, and I said, you know, like in high school now, even there'd be groups of people that hang around together. But anyway, that's where I met him.
Oh wow, his graduation. It was a high school graduation?
It was high school graduation at his family's home or something like that. Yeah.
So when did he ask? When were you guys officially dating? Like how long?
I think after that.
After that?
Pretty soon after that. Yeah.
So right out of high school, you met Grandpa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you know, like a year. We dated like a year because it was the end of my junior year, And so he was going to BC, and so I was going to be a senior. So at the end of my senior year is when we ended up getting married.
Really?
So
right out of senior year?
Pretty much, like a 4 months, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much like right out of high school.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I was in a situation where I needed to get out of my house.
Yeah.
So I just, when he asked, of course I said yes. So I was ready to move from my home. Yes.
Wow, Grandma, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And how was that? Were you and Grandpa like madly in love?
Well, you will find in life that initially it's like you're like really involved, smitten with this person, and then as time goes on, even to this, especially at this point, and I know it doesn't happen to all couples, but things change. Things change when you have kids. Things change because you're older. Things change because of financial problems. Things change because of health issues. There's lots of reasons why things change. And you can never go back to that, original. So, it doesn't mean that it always have to be negative, The changes can be positive, but that's pretty much.
So did Grandpa always work in the industry that he is right now, in like the wood industry?
Yeah, well, except for a very short time when we first got married. And when we first got married, we lived in a little place in back of his house that they had fixed for us to live in.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
Of his parents' house?
His parents' house.
Okay.
Yes. And then, so we, I'm sorry, what is that question again?
Has he worked in a different job besides
Well, at
work?
that point, he was working for Adeline's husband that had they did yards and that type of thing. They did landscaping, that type of thing. Okay, so that was very short, maybe like 6 months, I don't know. And then at that point, I was trying to tell him, you gotta go. Because when we got married, I didn't want to get married because he hadn't finished college. And I said, unless you finish college, I'm not marrying you. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I knew how, even though I had problems in school, I knew how important it was. So, but as the time went by, he didn't want to go finish. He went, I think he lacked like very little to actually,
Passing? Yeah.
And so, at that time, he stopped, and then he went and, I think that's when he got his first job in the construction, lumber, whatever business.
Okay, and what job, did you work any jobs when you moved in?
Yeah, I always worked, even if it was like, at 15, 16, I always had a little part-time job, okay? And I always, if it wasn't long-term, it was always a job continuously, at different, times when I was young. And so I worked, one of my first jobs was like at a cornet, like a wool, what's the one that's downtown?
Wool growers? Or like, is it a restaurant?
It was like a 5 and 10 cent store.
Oh, like Dollar Tree or something like that?
A little bit different than Dollar Tree, but a little bit bigger than Dollar Tree, So that was one of my first jobs. I had several little jobs, okay? And one of the jobs that I worked in was, at that time, there was no plaza or anything, so that was downtown, and I worked at Best Drug Store. And it was a drugstore, and I worked there. Was one of my kind of jobs. And so then, from there...
All right, so you worked at the drugstore.
Then I worked at... from there, I didn't go... I worked at the plaza when I first opened it up, and then, but that was like, it was like Wyatt's, it's like a cafeteria style, you know. Well, I worked there for a little bit, and then from there I went and worked at Brock's, and then from there I went to, well, I was at Brock's, and then it turned downtown, and you know, and then I went to Brock's at the Ballet Plaza that turned to Gottschalk's.
Oh, okay.
So I worked there approximately on and off, well, a total of a little more than 25 years. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, 25 years at that place.
So did you become like a manager, or did you like?
Well, I started off, well, when I first started, the girls were going to junior high, and you know, they were still little, so I started off as a part-timer, working only till 3 o'clock until they got out of school, and then I worked into more of a full-time job. And so at the beginning I was a floater. Of course, floater means, you know, it was like set up like Macy's, you know, where there's different departments.
Yeah.
Meaning you floated around to different departments, okay. So, and then I got a position in that sportswear,
Okay.
which is sportswear clothing, you know. And so when I was there, at one point was a manager in charge of doing scheduling and that type of thing right there. And then from there they had an opening in better sportswear and bridals and dresses. So that was the better department, and I got offered a position there, and then that's where I worked most of my time.
Then on, yeah. Wow.
I know.
And so then did you stop working when you had Mom?
Well, I didn't work until, no. You know, when I started working in retail or those jobs, I didn't work until, you know, they were in junior high and
Oh, okay.
younger. Prior to that, when I had small jobs, I worked at small periods of time, but then when I got pregnant, I did not work, you know, till the kids got maybe like, I don't know, till they got like, you know, 4 or 5, and somebody could watch them.
Watch
I
them.
would only work till like 3 hours here,
Yeah.
3 hours there. That's the way that one was.
Okay. So how young were you when you had Mom?
I was 19 when I got married, and she must have been, I mean, it was a year later that...
So 20?
Yeah, 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Young. Was that
That
like,
is
was that
young.
young back in the day?
Back in the day, it wasn't considered young because people were having kids really a lot younger, so it wasn't considered that young, but nowadays it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And how far apart is Mom and Aunt Jennifer?
5 years.
Wow.
To the month, yes. Yeah, but in between that, Papa, remember, had, he was sick and he was hospitalized.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know?
All right, so we were talking about when you had Mom.
Yeah, well, yes, and I had said something about Papa being sick, and that's because he had TB, and in those days, Mom, I think, was only 2, and he got TB, and in those days, they had a facility, it was called Keene, you know where Keene is? They had a place there, and that's what, because they needed to keep you away from other people because it's contagious.
Oh, okay.
Considered contagious, but anyway, that's where he was for like a year.
Wait, Grandpa was living somewhere else, basically?
Yes.
Did you see him at all?
Yeah, I had visitation. It was like...
They like quarantined Grandpa?
Yeah, they quarantined. I can't say it. But anyway, yes.
Did?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and so it was like a year, and then after he got out, in a year, he still had to take like 6 months after that, he had to take meds, and so he was not working, and at that point we were living with his parents because, you know, I lived over there a year with them, and cause everything, you know, he didn't have a job, you know, everything stopped, and so, but then he just, after that, we just, that's why the girls say, well, how come you didn't have more, how come you waited so long to have this?
Yeah.
That is part of the reason,
Wow.
So that's 5 years later, but like 2 years or so or more were lost, because of medication and being, in there. And then prior to that, we didn't know why he was so sick. Prior to that, we didn't know what was going on. So,
Wow.
pretty much took that time.
So he lived in like a hospital?
Yeah, it was like a hospital setting, and there's like he shared a room with somebody, and
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
yeah. It was not, and thank goodness at that time I had drove until I married Papa, and we had a little car so that I could go over there. But
Dang.
yeah,
So did you want more? Like,
No.
you just wanted two?
No, I never intended to have more than two. So, 2 was enough.
Yeah, that's good. Because I didn't know this, but Mom wanted more. She wanted like 4.
She did?
Yeah.
That's a surprise.
I know. She said that she because she tried and it was really hard for her to get pregnant. So she wanted a lot more kids. I didn't know that either. But
no, I knew.
You knew
what it took to have, and then like I said, that 5-year period, and then I'll tell you something later. But you start at that point. I was home for a while, and then after that, then I started. After Jennifer went to school, and that's when I started working more.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But she was like in junior high. After she was in junior high, I started working more.
Okay. So how was like their childhood? Like, did you guys like go like travel, like camping, or?
Well, you don't want to ask, do you? No. Papa is very work-oriented.
Okay. Yeah.
And so we bought a camper, and I think you've seen pictures of it, and we tried to do camping. I think we used that maybe 2 times, and it sat there for a couple of years. Yes. Finally, we got rid of it because we weren't going anyplace with it. So,
yeah.
I like to go camp. He didn't like to go camping. I like to go, especially with the kids at that age and stuff. I thought it was, but no, we just took little trips, but he didn't like to go camping, so we didn't do that.
Okay, yeah.
What else did you ask me?
Like that was basically like you guys went like, what did you guys do as a family like when they were kids?
Yeah, well, we would do family things with Tom's family.
Okay, yeah.
And we would of course you've heard of us saying that the girls when they were like, I think Jen must have been 9 or 10 or no, she must have been a little bit older than that. But anyway, we went skiing. They went skiing at Tahoe. They went ski. We went, a few years in a row. We went down there, and everybody went together. That's Pat and Adeline's family and kids. We would all go down there, and that's what we would do as far as anything. And we did that. We did that for like about 4 years until the kids got bigger and they weren't interested in going anymore. So that was probably the thing we did mostly, like going to Tahoe and going camping. I mean, they went skiing.
Okay. So what was Mom and Aunt Jennifer like when they were kids?
Well, they were opposites.
Okay, I didn't know they were like complete opposites.
In their personalities and what they did, yes, they were opposites. Your mom was a good girl. She was, she was a good girl. She was involved in school activities, a cheerleader and that type of thing, and stuff. And Jen was a little bit more stubborn, you know, and she's the one that we made sure she went to a Catholic school.
Really?
It didn't help.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, this is the difference. I'll tell you a little short story, and I've told the kids this story too. When she was like, she had to be like, 7, something like 6 or 7. We were outside in the yard, okay, and there was in the, I don't know, in the wood or something, there was a little hole, and like something was barreled itself in there, and she was like poking at it, and I said, oh, look, what is that? And she says, oh, there's something here, I want to see what it is. I said, don't put your finger in there, don't do that. Well, what do you think she does? She puts her finger in there, and it's one of those black bees, and it bites her.
Oh my gosh.
So that's the difference, you know. And then your mom, I'd say, no, don't do that, because you're going to fall and hurt yourself. She'd back up. And, you know, but most of the time, she wouldn't do it. Which was opposite.
Mom didn't do anything crazy in her high school days? Or?
Well, I think in her high school days, yes, but there was a couple of incidents, and you know how it is, Mom always knows last, you know.
Yeah.
And we suspected things, but we, you know, didn't really say too much. And the one that I think the worst thing was that happened was that she had just got a brand new car, and she was in high school.
I think I know what this is.
Yeah. And I don't exactly know how it happened, but she was out at night at some party or something, and she calls us. She's crying. Oh, we just wrecked the car. It just...
No.
Yeah, yes.
Oh my God.
And I go, what? Yeah. She goes, we can't drive it home. And oh my gosh, we had to tell your papa, and you know, we had to go with her and get it. And,
no way.
And she's going, and it was brand new, and I said, Monica. And she goes, I didn't mean to, you know.
Oh my
gosh. I think
gosh.
she had a boyfriend with it, and my thinking is that she let him use it.
Oh.
So I don't know, and I think that's why it happened. But I'm sure she was partying some, you know.
Yeah.
But that's probably one of the worst. Yeah, and it could have not been directly, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But still, she got in trouble for it, of course. Yeah, so.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because she got her car when she was 16. And she was 16. Well, she had been teaching school. Grades were not right. So was totally shocked at 16 when she expected something. And where's my car? Monica, I'm going, no, but she didn't do that, you know. So anyway, it took a while for her to get hers.
That's funny.
Yes, so that's the difference.
Okay. And Mom said that you both made her wedding dress. Did you make any prom dresses for Mom?
Yeah, I did. I made a prom dress for Jennifer. They actually wanted me to make their prom dress because they wanted a certain kind, a certain style, certain color, blah, blah, you know. So I did make prom dresses for the girls, both of the girls, you know, made them a couple of prom dresses. And then Monica wanted me to help her with the wedding. I wanted her to get one there because I was working at the bridal, you know, area.
Oh yeah, you could get a discount.
Yeah. And she didn't want it, so I
really. That's surprising.
Yeah. So except I messed up and I've never said anything, and I'm sorry, Monica, because we didn't get to put all her little details beaded work that she had had.
Really?
Yes, and that was
so
my
she
fault.
had like patches
Yeah.
or something, like beaded
Yeah.
like parts that were.
Yeah. Well, I was so busy, and I should have had some help with somebody else, but I was so busy trying to do her, what is it called in the back?
The train.
Yeah, it was like a,
like
train.
a poofy part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The back, okay. And so I had been working on that, and then she never had come to get fitted, and it was like right a week before or something, and she decided she didn't like it and wanted me to change it. So I was going to be working on the other stuff, and I ended up changing it, and it still didn't really come out right because I didn't put the right snaps.
All right, good.
Okay. At a very early age, and they started me with doing like, what do you call it when you, I can't remember what you call them, but you do little squares and.
Oh, like detail
Yes,
little things. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like pin needle, but like something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway, so I started very early age doing that, and always sewed on and off. Didn't sew for anybody else. I just sewed, for the girls, and occasionally I would make something, but that's what I did.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
There was something else that I wanted to ask. Gosh, it left my mind. Oh yeah. What did you think about Dad when she brought him home? Wasn't there a story of like cowboy boots or something like that?
Oh, no, I thought he was nice. He was very, polite, and when he came, he had cowboy boots, and I just figured he was just a cowboy. You know what I say?
Yeah.
And he was very, and he still is. So I'm not gonna ever say anything bad about him. So.
Yeah.
But he was very polite, and
When did you first meet him? Like, do you remember like how you met Dad?
Yeah, I remember him walking into our two-story house that we had, and she was going to go out with him. She brought him in the house, and that's at that point is where we met him.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Did Mom say anything like, "Oh yeah, I think he's a keeper," or like, "Oh, I think, I don't know, maybe I don't think I like him that much," or something like that? Did
No,
Mom
she
say?
never said she didn't like. She always said, I'd say after she was going out with him for a long time, I'd say, "Oh, are you guys serious about this?" She goes, "Well, I don't know. We might be like that."
Yeah.
So I said, well, he seems like a really nice person. So
Yeah.
That was a plus, and he treated her good, and that was a plus.
Yeah.
I always say, it's the way you're treated that is important.
Yeah.
But no, we liked him. Always liked
Did
him.
Dad? I'm sure he did, but did Dad ask for her hand?
I think he did. I think he asked Tom, and we were really happy about it. You know, especially, Dad. Your grandpa kind of knew who Rex was, and was still, has dealing with, building and that type of thing, and that's what he did, and that's what he was involved with. So there was that connection there. So
Okay, that's good. Yeah. That's crazy.
I know.
Crazy.
But no, we were very happy that
They got married.
They got married, yes.
And okay, what about the first grandchild?
She was a beautiful grandchild, and we just loved her, and we just thought she was the best.
How were you, like, that was going to be you're going to be grandma for the first time?
Oh, we were thrilled.
Really?
Thrilled, yeah. No, we weren't one of those persons that were going like, "Oh, I don't want to be a grandma." No.
Yeah.
We're just,
happy about
it, and, and when the next one came, we were happy too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I always loved being a grandma, and most of all, I miss the little ones.
I don't know, we drove you crazy, Grandma, when we were over here.
No, not so much, you know.
Right.
Just, you know.
You miss when we were little kids.
Yeah, I do. I miss that a lot.
And we'd all go to like McDonald's and get the Happy Meals and
Yes,
stuff like that.
yes.
That's like what I remember a lot.
Yeah. And I used to take you guys when you were at the house. And if you remember this, we'd go to the park and
Mm-hmm.
pull you in the red wagon to the park, and we'd go over there and.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Yes. So no, I enjoyed it, and of course when you were a baby, it was a little hard because I had both of them, you know, both of you guys, and I was working, and I had to ask specifically for 2 days off so that I could babysit. But I enjoyed it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's pretty much it. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I just, you know, I love my grandchildren.
Is there any advice you want to give to future great grandbabies?
Well, I think the only thing is that, you know, whoever you end up with, that they treat you the way you deserve to be treated. And, you know, I think that's important that, you know, if you want to have a lifetime commitment with somebody, you need to be treated right. And because, you know, life is too short, and it's hard normally, but then when you have a lot of conflicts and stuff, it makes it even harder. So I just think that you deserve to be treated with respect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, you know. But just don't forget your grandma.
Don't forget your grandma.
Yeah.